Welcome, everybody, to the UFC 244 conference call. UFC 244 takes place this Saturday, November 2nd, from Madison Square Garden as the UFC holds its 500th event with the BMF title on the line. The event airs live on ESPN Plus pay-per-view. Today's call will feature the athletes competing in the 170-pound main event, Jorge Masvidal and Nate Diaz. Jorge will join us now, then Nate at the bottom of the hour. And with that, we can open up the questions for Jorge, Leanne.
Well, I'm going to make a statement real quick before the questions get asked real quick. Is class in session? Is everybody listening? Hello? The teacher's talking. Everybody listening? I'm going to take that as a yes. If people start asking me, if I get one question about a so-and-so this or number 37 in the world, I will just hang up and go about my day. I don't want no questions regarding other people. I got a main event to take care of. The media's always asking me about so-and-so from another planet. I don't care. One chance only. So don't mess it up for your teammates and co-workers. Don't ask no stupid questions because the interview's over. I got shit to do. Let's go.
If you'd like to ask a question, please signal by pressing *1 on your telephone keypad. If you're using a speakerphone, please make sure your mute function is turned off to allow your signal to reach our equipment. Again, please press *1 to ask a question.
No questions. Good. This is a good one. All right, meeting's adjourned. Everybody have a great day. Give them another minute to get their stuff together, and then we got things really ready. Damn right. Always got the.
Okay, Leanne, we're good to start with Mark. And
we'll take our first question from Damon Martin with MMAfighting.com.
Hey, Jorge, thanks for taking the time. I know the pressure's on. I'll open with this Nate Diaz specific question, which was all the craziness that happened last week. It really didn't affect you because you weren't involved in that whole situation. But what was your mindset when, like, over that 24-hour period, we weren't sure if the fight was happening and you were kind of stuck in limbo? Like, did you change anything or have to deal with anything, or did you just kind of go about your business?
Well, it was longer than 24 hours, I think, the totality of it. So by, like, day number 2, anxiety hit. And about 2 pizzas later and hot fries and other things that I shouldn't have put in my body, the coaching staff got a hold of me and they were able to calm the anxiety down. And we went about business. But, yeah, if I get anxiety or depression, things like that, I take to eating. So they stopped me on my tracks, you know. But we're all good. Everything's good, ready to go.
Yeah. Obviously, your last 2 fights, you've had a couple of huge knockouts. Now, you've been a veteran. You've been around the sport and picked up a lot of big wins during your career. But I know I've spoken to you in the past about the frustration you dealt with when you had split decisions and close decisions and things like that. What do you feel like has been the biggest change in your mentality or your training with these past couple of fights as you go into this Nate Diaz fight where you've kind of got this killer instinct where you're going out there and really, you know, putting guys away that way and no longer, you know, getting the judges involved?
Well, it's on the mindset. I got the book coming out. It's coming out not yet, but it's going to come out soon. It's going to be everywhere, man. You can get it at gas stations, Barnes and Nobles, Toys R Us, anywhere it's going to be at, and that's going to dictate the mindset. On the physical side, we can't talk about that too much because it's like the secret sauce preparation, you know, what I do and how I prepare and stuff. It's just I looked at my whole career in 15 years and I saw things that went really, really well for me in certain training camps when I did them. And I saw things that were maybe incredibly tough or we thought were doing well, but the actual results were maybe me being flat or things like that. So we got everything that actually worked, amplified it to the max, and things that didn't work, cut them. You know, maybe I just do them like off camp. So it was just, I got one of those guys that, and I'm not joking about this, you know, like those analytic guys for Google that come in and see where a company's doing good and bad. We got one of those dudes, brought him into the camp, gave him all the data, and that's what we've been doing, man. So I can't get too much into it either because I spent a lot of money paying that dude thing. But yeah, man, we're kicking ass.
We all know how tough Nate Diaz is. Jorge obviously has been around the sport for a long time, fought everybody, and he's a very good guy. And he's been a really tough guy to put away. Outside of maybe that Josh Thompson fight, it's the only one I can think of over, you know, the last however many years he's actually, you know, been stopped in a fight. Do you believe, looking at this fight, you have that ability to put him away, but are you also prepared for the fact that this may go deep, you know, 25 minutes, 5 rounds, hard rounds with a guy who is notoriously hard to put away?
Well, I'll answer you 2 questions. I'm that dude that pops cherries. His cherry has been popped already, but I'm that dude that pops cherries. This dirty motherfucker right here is popping cherries. Ben Askren had never been knocked out when I got a hold of him. The dude from England had never been knocked out when I got a hold of him, and the list goes on and on. If you look through my career, I put an end to a lot of guys never been knocked out, never been stopped. So that another tough guy to knock out, or a guy that's never been knocked out, I don't care about him. I never care about my opponent, especially now. I care about Gamebred, and Gamebred is only going for the off button. You know, that's the only thing I'm trying to do, is take this guy out of consciousness for a while. You know, that's my job. That's entertainment. That's the only way I can get the bills paid. Let me tell you something. I did this sport for so long, and if you look at some of my masterpieces that I've painted in the past, people didn't appreciate shit of it. They could care less whether it was a decision I won or lost. They didn't give a damn. All they want to see is pure violence, me put people to sleep in a very bad way. And that's all I'm going to do. And I understand my role in this life and my job. It's just to hurt people and get them out of there. They don't want to see a guy that could fight going backwards and they could rally up a lot of points and cut and bruise somebody and knock them down. No, they want to see me leaving guys in the stretcher. Cool. I'm in.
Thanks, Jorge. I appreciate it.
And our next question comes from Mark Raimondi with ESPN.
Hey, George. How's it going, man?
Good.
So,
and from now on, to all the classmates in session, Mr. Masvidal will be appreciated. Yeah, I would like Mr. Masvidal, please.
Mr. Masvidal.
And I'm older than a lot of you guys.
There we here. Mr. Masvidal, when was the first time you actually heard about Nate's situation last week? Was it just a tweet that he sent out?
Yeah, it was a tweet that I sent out, and I got I got immediately 15 text messages, and not that many people even got my number, which is what fucking bothers me. So I got to switch my number again after this fight. Yeah, man, it was fucking nuts, you know. I was like, what the fuck now? But that's photoshopped, you know. And then I digged a little harder, and it wasn't photoshopped. And then, you know, fucking little bit of anxiety came. Not anxiety in the sense that I thought Nate was a cheater, because I never thought that he was a cheater. Just that, just the uncertainty of like, man, they might pull my fight because some lab screw up, because some fucking weird ass shit, you know. I don't want to diss on USADA either, because I think they've cleaned up a lot of the sport, but it's not 100% right yet, you know. So that uncertainty gave me tremendous anxiety, and I deal with anxiety by eating. So fucking your boy got fat, man.
But you're not going to miss weight, right, on Friday?
My brother, I never missed weight in my whole career, and if I didn't miss it at 155 pounds, you better believe I'm not missing now. The biggest night of my fucking career, there's not a chance, my brother.
How long did you go before, you know, not knowing the fight would be on or not?
I don't know. It felt like 2 days almost, you know. I was calling Hunter from the UFC. I was calling my manager. A lot of people got a fucking earful, you know.
And are you confident right now, as we speak, that the fight is going to happen on Saturday?
Yeah, that's mine, but yeah, but am I confident the fight's gonna happen on Saturday?
Yeah. Mhm.
Well, shit, Nate's here. I'm here. USADA cleared him. I mean, snap, man. Hell yeah! Don't be putting that bad juju out there. Hell yeah! What's your name? I'm gonna find you, man. Don't put that bad juju out there, man.
I'll see you on Wednesday, Mr. Masvidal. I appreciate it, man. Thank you.
And our next question comes from Justin Barrasso with Sports Illustrated.
Thank you for the chance to connect. Obviously, you need to stay hungry and focused until Saturday. But
the big chick, Mr. Masvidal, please. I'll be addressed as Mr. Masvidal. I don't want to. There we go.
Obviously, you need to stay hungry and focused Saturday. But to look at the big picture, you know, you're someone who grew up in Miami, and you've been fighting professionally since 2003. On a personal level, what does it mean for you to main event a show at Madison Square Garden?
On a personal level, it's amazing. And I want to touch ground on this real quick. New York City, New York, the whole state adopted me way before a lot of other cities. They found out about me a long time ago, and I've always got a great feedback from the public here, from the fans here. An amazing feedback. You know, New York is ahead on a lot of things, so they were kind of involved with MMA. They were the last state to get sanctioned and stuff, but they've always backed me up, man, and took me as one of the old California as well. I got a huge fan base as well there, you know, and there's no surprise, you know. But I love it, man. I can't believe it. The first pay-per-view I'm headlining is in New York. It kind of makes sense, though, because one of the major cities to really get behind me, was New York. So I love it. I'm here. I thank the city for welcoming me, because if they didn't want me here, I wouldn't be here, So, man, I'm just glad the city's behind me on this one.
And I know you said that your job is to hurt people and fight people, but there's a lot of inspiration. I mean, you've been fighting for a long time. You've always believed in your work. Self-doubt can cripple. It doesn't matter what field it is, whether it's mixed martial arts or the workforce. I think there's some inspiration behind your story too, behind your name, how you fought to make it to this level. Again, all the focus is on the fight on Saturday, but again, that emotional value adds something to you, a different element to this fight for you as well.
Say that last part again. You're breaking up a little bit.
Because the fact that, again, what it means for your family name, how hard you've worked, the inspiration you've given to other people to keep fighting. I know you said you're a fighter and your focus is hurting people, not necessarily inspiring, but you've been able to do both in your career. What does it mean to you to have the chance to inspire others?
Well, on the hurting side, I'm not trying to hurt nobody other than the opponent ahead of me, because that's the entertainment and inspiration I bring to the table. But every once in a while, I bump into somebody to see my journey from the very, very bottom. I mean, it doesn't get no more humbling than my experience from where I started at to where I'm at. As long as I've been competing, as many as so-called losses I've had, and I just kept on trucking. As my coach says, put the hard hat on and get to work, Mr. Mike Brown, and that's what I've been doing for 16 years, man. Just put that hard hat on and get to work. Don't care what happens, injuries, opponents backing out, going to other countries last minute notice, not getting decisions to go my way, though I outstruck, outgrappled, and kicked somebody's ass, and just saying to myself, man, I'm just gonna keep doing this till I am at the very, very top. So every once in a while, I run into somebody that's seen that journey, and man, it could almost bring tears to my eyes, man, if I was allowed to cry. When you tell me these things and how they've seen my journey and it's motivated them to go other places. I love to hear that, man. Because when I first started, I didn't think I'd be motivating people to bring out the best of them. But, competition a lot of the times can bring out the best in people, And
it's brought up the best in you, too. My last question, thank you again. On the title, the addition of the title, the fight doesn't need it because the fight stands alone in and by itself. But it adds another element to this fight of excitement. The Rock obviously involved, too. What is that? Does that mean anything to you, the fact that Dwayne Johnson wanted to be involved and wanted to hand out the title at the end of this fight?
No, it's definitely nuts, man. The Rock is an action star, man, and I've met him before in the past. He's a good dude. We met once in person at American Top Team. Dan Lambert had flown him out, and he met a couple of his fighters back then. This was maybe like 5-6 years ago, and I just thought he didn't know who the hell I was, and he was just a cool person. That was, I think, the coolest thing, that he was just such a down-to-earth person, being who he was back then, and I was basically virtually unknown. I was fighting already in the UFC, but nobody knew who the hell I was, and he treated me with the utmost respect, and I think that to me is amazing,
Amazing. Good luck on Saturday. Thank you so much for the time.
So, yes, sir.
And our next question comes from Chad Dundas with The Athletic.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal. Just one question for you today. During the lead up to this fight, you and Nate Diaz have both been very respectful toward each other. Can you tell me what it is specifically about Nate that has earned your respect? And then what is it about you that you think he respects as well?
I think it just comes down to we both fight, and we're dogs in that cage. But at the same time, we see the bullshit, and we don't want to play in the bullshit. You're not going to tell me jump or wear a suit or do this. I'm going to do what the F I feel like and when I want to do it. It's probably the reason it's taken me so long to get the UFC to truly get behind me. And on the same token, he's been the same dude from his side of the country, doing his thing his own way. And we'll both see it, and we can salute each other. We're going to go to war and everything, but no matter what happens, I got nothing but praise and admiration for Nate, I like what he's done and how he's carried himself, So hell yeah, man. Kudos to him. Now let's get this fight shit going on. Thanks.
And our next question comes from Sean Ross Sapp with Fightful.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal, thanks for the time. Dana White has said that this title wouldn't be something that would be defended, but is it something that you would want to defend anyway, even beyond Nate Diaz?
I had to sit down with my management group and see what they want me to do, you know. Because if Dana and these people are saying it's just a one-time thing, it's a one-time thing, I might be defending it against, you know, somebody that could bring that type of hype back out. You know, we'll have that title sitting there. You know, maybe King Kong, maybe Godzilla. I don't know, one of these superstars. I won't give punks in my division, not all my division, because there's some studs, there's some killers in my division. But I don't even want to mention guys' names and make them famous. But there's a lot of guys that I wouldn't give them a shot because they're just punks, man, and they fight like crotch snippers that they are. So they wouldn't get a chance to even compete for that belt, man. Because you got to be a bad motherfucker to compete for the belt, right? We're in agreement on that at least?
Yeah, and have you had any input on the title? Or
ain't too many?
Oh, sorry.
No, I haven't had any input. And there isn't too many bad motherfuckers at my division. There is some, but there just isn't that many, you know, as many as people think at least.
Speaking of people in your division, what did you think of Ben Askren's loss this past weekend?
Well, you could wait up, my brother. You could jeopardize this interview for everybody. I clearly said I don't want to be answering no questions about nobody.
Apologies.
They're get all upset. They're gonna get all upset at you. We're not making nobody famous. This will be the last. Well, how do you say this? The last. What's the word I'm looking for? The last warning, my brother. You know, class is in session. Let's pay attention now.
Thank you.
You got it.
And as a reminder, that is star one to ask a question. Our next question will come from Nolan Kind with MMA Junkie.
Hey, thanks for joining us today, Mr. Masvidal. Have you had the chance to be able to see the belt yet? Have you got a preview, or the title itself, will it be the first time that you see it will be in the cage on Saturday?
No, sir. I haven't seen anything of the belt. I haven't seen nothing, man, to tell you the truth. Not even like a sneak peek or nothing. I mean, I got spies everywhere, and nobody's even able to give me even like a screenshot or a quick pic of the thing. Nothing, man. I have absolutely no idea what this video could look, what this belt could look like.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
And our next question comes from Steven Morocco with MMAfighting.com.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal, you mentioned earlier in the call that you think that some things could be improved in the whole process with USADA in situations like this. What specifically do you think could be improved?
We're going to need a long conversation about it. But let me make this clear. I think USADA has moved my sport forward in ways that I couldn't have imagined. There was a time already where I was getting fed up with what was going on with the substance abuse, and they've chopped down a lot of it, you know. Can it be tighter and better? Yes. But I'm also, in that sense, I'm like, you know, I'm a very intense individual. I just always think it could be better and better and better. You know, I could sit down with USADA and give them like my opinions on it, but I want to say they've done a great job. You know, guys like me are shining because of USADA now, you know, because there was a time where everybody was looking like Captain America and Wolverine, and the guys that are natural, you know, weren't shining as much. I'm able to send these people into outer orbit now because the system is at a much more of a playing field. I want to give big kudos to USADA. Can it be better? Yeah, it could be better.
Did you have any communication with them during this whole episode?
I mean, just my regular testing and stuff that I tested, but no, I don't have no communications with them and stuff.
Were there ever any alternate scenarios planned or proposed to you when this was kind of all up in the air, as far as what would happen at UFC 244 or rescheduling another opponent, anything like that?
I mean, they were offering me some heavyweights from boxing and stuff that they thought were some bad motherfuckers, and I was like, you know what, let's just do it, man. You know, bare knuckle, whatever it is, let's just go, you know. I was just going to say yes to whatever, as long as my fees were met. Anybody could have got that ass whooping as long as my fees were met, you know. But, you know, obviously I'm not a cheap acquisition, so, you know. But now we weren't too worried. We knew Nate Diaz's camp and stuff would get everything situated, and it pulled through just the way it did.
And then last question, you mentioned hiring an analytics guy to help you in your camp. Can you talk a little bit more about what exactly he or she did?
No, not for the camp, just for the whole process of coming back and scheduling camps. We had somebody that could look into numbers real well, you know, because I'm not a mathematician. I could defend myself in the math progress, but I'm not no mathematician. So we just had somebody just calculating up certain things that did good and bad, and we just amplified them. And that's it, man, without getting too much into it. You know, besides my amazing coaching staff that I had, it's just numbers, man. It's just numbers, literally. And we just put those things together and made it work.
Gotcha. Thanks very much. Looking forward to the fight.
So, yes, sir.
And our next question comes from Spencer Kite with UFC.com.
Good afternoon, Mr. Masvidal. It's good to speak with you again. You mentioned earlier that Nate's a real one, that Nate's a dog just like yourself. First part is what's it mean to garner that respect from a guy like Nate, have him call you out face to face, as it were, after that last performance, and kind of build on that respect and admiration that I know and I think everybody on this call knows you carry throughout kind of the MMA world with your peers.
Oh, thank you, my brother, for that. Man, it's awesome, man. Like I've said, just like him stepping in short notice against Conor when Conor was like undefeated, and it takes a lot, you know, just the short notice part. You know, that's like, oh man, I gotta take this fight short notice. Damn, you know. And then they say this guy is the biggest beast, and this guy wasn't phased at all. From what I heard, he was like in Mexico partying and stuff, and then took the fight like in 10 days notice, 2 weeks notice. I don't remember the exact numbers on that. I could be way off, but I know it was short notice as hell, you know. So that to me was like, hell yeah, bro. This is a dude I definitely want to scrap with just because of the mindset. You know, he's always betting on himself. And man, fuck, I love that shit. You know, I love to compete against those guys. That's what I'm trying to fight, is those dudes right there.
And you mentioned when you were speaking about The Rock that you were a guy that, you know, people didn't know. He didn't know who you were. You were already in the UFC. What's it mean for you, for that public perception and that mainstream perception, to have caught up now to where kind of the hardcore fans have always known that Jorge Masvidal is a real one, to have more and more people and be getting this chance to headline a pay-per-view at Madison Square Garden?
Oh, it's amazing in that sense, you know, because I do got the hardcores behind me, but you got the purists. Only the purists of the purists have been watching me since Japan, since, man, Strike Force, since all these events that are no longer with us, that are defunct already, that your boy traveled through those events and made waves, you know. It's crazy that I had the hardcores, and then, you know, in 1 year I bought in the casuals. And then it's funny to see like a casual say that I'm an overnight hit. And then sometimes I read the comments, I just watch him get chewed up by all my fans that have been there forever. Like, are you a fucking idiot? This guy's been fighting for 16 years, you moron. You know, so it's awesome, man. But it also makes bigger paychecks, you know. So that's one thing that's amazing about it, you know. I love it. I love that I'm able to provide for my family and keep doing what I do. The people that have been here with me from the start, they're getting taken care of real well as well. I'm going to make sure they never have to work after I'm done fighting, because I'm going to bring in these big checks, you know. So let's get this money.
And last one for me, as you mentioned, the anxiety kicked in when Nate sent out that tweet. And when the anxiety kicks in, you turn to food. What'd you get into? How big of a feast did you have?
I didn't get to have that much of a feast because I live with my dad, and my dad, he's a spy for the coaches and shit. So he started placing phone calls once I was 2 pieces in, you know. And, I mean, at the time I was pissed, but thank goodness, because the cavalry showed up and they were able to restrain me and take credit cards away and shut down Uber Eats and shit, you know?
Sounds good. I appreciate it. All the best this weekend.
You got it, sir.
And our next question comes from Anir Bond with Sportskeeda.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal, thanks for taking the time to do this. So, 2019 has been really amazing for you with 2 big knockouts. So, what is your mindset like heading into this fight?
Big knockout. Duh. Come on, my brother. You know, I want to just turn the lights off on somebody, and that's all I want to do. That's the only way to create headlines in my sport and get the biggest paychecks possible, is to hit the off button on individuals, and that's all I will be looking to do November 2nd.
And what motivated you in 2019 to jump into the spotlight the way you have?
I didn't, you know, I was looking back at my career, which up till 2019 wasn't a bad one. I think a lot of people would be more than confirmed to have done half of what I had done to that point. But I was nowhere near done. I couldn't close a chapter on my career like that without certain things getting accomplished. And everything that I've done this year, I've basically called it in advance to those nearby enough to hear me out, you know. So ain't nothing by coincidence, ain't nothing by this or that. It's all hard work, dedication, sacrifice, tears of blood, you know, things like that. So I've seen a lot of this was going to happen beforehand, and I know how this storybook ends, you know. I know when I close the book on this chapter of my life, I know where I'll be sitting at.
And finally, my last question, what is the significance of the BMF title for you?
Say it again, my brother. I didn't hear that last part.
Yeah. What is the significance of the BMF title for you?
The signature, you said? Oh, significance. I'm sorry.
The significance, the importance. Yeah.
I didn't say this, you know. The president did. The world is saying it. The whole company of the UFC is saying it. The winner of this, which is me, is the baddest motherfucker they've ever seen in their roster in the years in the other years of the company running, the history of the company. So shit. I mean, I don't think I could elaborate on that anymore. I'm the baddest motherfucker there was, you know, with this belt. You know, that's what it says on the belt, BMF. I mean, sheesh.
Thanks so much for taking the time, and best of luck for your fight this weekend.
Appreciate it, man. Big shout out to India, man.
Thanks. I really appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
And our next question is from Simon Samano with MMA Junkie.
Hey, Mr. Masvidal, thanks a lot for the time. You know, earlier this year, back in January, you were on MMA Junkie Radio, and you were lamenting a missed opportunity to be able to fight Nick Diaz, who you were linked to just before that. Can you sort of talk about just how crazy it is to think that you go from January, you know, lamenting an opportunity to fight Nick, to now you and Nate, his younger brother, reaching this ultimate moment in your guys' careers?
Yeah, it's amazing, man. I remember at the moment I was a little heartbroken, you know, because I had stepped away from the sport for a year. I came back, and obviously I'm excited. I'm like a kid in a Christmas store. The same way when Nate called me out that Nick in my fight is going to materialize. So when that doesn't happen, you know, I was devastated. Anxiety took over as well, and I went back to my eating ways. But I was able to get a call shortly after saying that I'd be fighting Till. So it was a good thing, you know. I went from one big fight to another big fight, and that's what kept me in line, you know. And then the big fights have just kept rolling in, you know. So it's just an example to everybody out there listening. Zero in on your goals. Just focus on what you got to do and get it done.
One of the things that you said in that interview on MMA Junkie Radio was you specifically said, quote, "Damn, I miss fighting so much." I mean, what was your mindset in that time? Like, were you in a period of depression? Were you down because, you know, you were away from fighting for so long? Like, where were you at in your head at that point?
I was coming off 2 losses, and I was in the darkest of the dark places I've been to, and I get into some dark places from time to time. So I slowly but surely started coming out, you know, and when the person that came out of that dark place is not the person that went into that dark place, you know, that person is no longer with us. That old game bred expired. You know, the new one here is just ready to go. He was missing fighting. He also reminded and remembered how much fighting is him. You know, it's in my DNA from everything I've done from my childhood to now. It's just who I am, you know. But you get a little dull being at the office all day long, 9 to 5, constantly clocking in. You get bored of that computer, that chair. You need to just step back for a little bit and see the bigger picture. And I was able to do that, get my mind right, and here I am.
And then the one thing I wanted to ask as well is, you know, before you got booked against Darren Till, I think when we found out that you were getting booked against Darren Till, I think a lot of people may have looked at it as, okay, this is set up in such a way that Darren Till can bounce back against Masvidal coming off this long layoff, and he's got name value, et cetera, et cetera. I'm assuming maybe that was something. Was that something that went through your mind, that you thought that maybe the UFC was trying to set up Darren Till with a comeback against you?
Man, I wanna say you're a mind reader. Maybe you know somebody, huh? But yeah, in all honesty, maybe they were, maybe they weren't. Me, I was just licking my chops, man. Like, man, I can't believe they're gonna give me this dude, because I know that they've been pushing him real hard, you know. And I kind of, in a way, was like, man, I beat that dude Cowboy too. I beat him first, and I didn't get the same push that he got after the Cowboy fight, you know. So I was like, I want to fight this dude. I want to hurt him. It's not that I dislike him on a personal level or nothing like that. I think the kid's cool, but I just want to scrap, man. And I know coming back, me having lost to Thompson, him having beat Thompson for a fact, from the betting odds to the UFC, that was the guy. You could tell on that whole. I was the main event as well on that thing. It was me and him, and they barely showed any clips of me. They didn't even send a camera crew out for me, to tell you the truth. They didn't do anything to promote me, to promote who Gamebird is. And it was cool, you know. The UFC had to learn the hard way, you know. And I'm glad they teach the UFC lessons, life lessons, like, hey, don't ever underestimate me. And I definitely just wanted to get in there, you know. And also, Till was having a problem getting opponents. I was like, let's go, man. What's all this bullshit about? I'm ready to dance. You want to go? Let's go.
And then the last thing, I guess, playing off that is, it's safe to say then that you take a lot of pride in the fact that you have grabbed this opportunity by the horns and made the most of it, correct? Nothing was handed.
Damn right. Damn, I couldn't have said it better. Damn fucking right, man. Since I came back, I've seen everything that was going to unfold and unravel. I looked at the whole landscape. I looked at number 1 through number 10, and I said, man, I'm gonna have a field day if they let me back in here. If they don't stop me from fighting this year, I'm gonna hurt a lot of feelings, and that's all I've been doing, man. I'm telling you, this year was big. Next year's gonna be bigger.
Thanks. Appreciate the time, man.
Yes, sir.
I'd like to turn the conference back over to Chris Costello for any additional remarks.